This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. As you can see, it's my favorite day of the year because it's Ladies' Day.
You act like it only happens once a year.
It's true, but when the three of us, I love this. It's very rare. It's a little like the planets are aligned. Okay, very exciting. As well as this, it was a great moment of anticipation. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made his presidential run for the White House official. Now, the launch was supposed to happen on Twitter with Elon Musk, but this is what greeted people on the site for about 25 minutes. The Twitter live chat was mostly silent, causing hundreds of thousands of people to leave the feed. But we finally heard from DeSantis, but only his audio. So let's take a look and listen, I guess, at that.
Well, I am running for President of the United States to lead our great American comeback. American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice, and we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization.
So Team DeSantis later posted this video to Twitter showing DeSantis and saying he, quote, broke the internet. Okay. Later, DeSantis went on Fox News where viewers could actually see him, and he doubled down on that anti-woke agenda we've spoken about. Take a look.
But we will, as president, lean in against woke ideology and against the sexualization of children. It's wrong, Trey, what they're trying to do to these kids. We're not going to abide by it. And in Florida, we say we're the state where woke goes to die. You know, as president, I'm going to make sure woke ideology ends up in the dustbin of history.
So DBL Nation, after months of waiting, DeSantis is officially in the race for the White House, and we need to hear from you. What do you want to see him as? Do you want to see him as the Republican nominee? Do you want Trump, DeSantis, Tim Scott, or Nikki Haley? All of those options are available for you. So go to DBL to weigh in as we speak. Erica.
I just want to talk about optics to begin with because
the lack of thereof.
I mean, yeah, exactly. First of all, this was like the biggest flop since the Love is Blind live reunion on Netflix. Like, what is this? And secondly, when they finally did show him optically, was the cameraman on a Bosu ball? Like, it was so distracting, the whole thing. Like, I think that when you are coming out to make an announcement that you are running for the President of the United States, everything matters. What is said, what isn't said, what we see, what we don't see. And that was just, it was just poorly done. I mean, maybe I know that I'm coming from a different place because we have our fabulous team that would never happen.
Never happen.
Steve Gallagher on the audio would have never let that happen. It sounded like he was in a garage.
Our director, Brian.
Never would have let that happen.
Never.
I will say what I didn't like about it is I didn't like the idea, and I would apply this to any Democratic nominee as well. I don't like making an announcement without having the press there. That, to me, is a slippery slope and alarming. The press is there to not only be the caveat, and not the caveat, but the what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's very specific.
Conduit.
Yes, thank you, Erica Cobb. The conduit to the American people, but it's also their job to ask questions. And so it's important to challenge that person, especially if they're going to go on a 10-minute narrative. We know we weren't able to see the entire speech that he had prepared, but if there's certain things that he's going to say and apply it to what he did as governor in Florida, you should be able to be pushed back on that. But, and I'm applying this to Democrats too.
Right.
I think the press needs to be there for every single presidential announcement, et cetera, et cetera.
I really appreciate both those takes. I think the hot mic, the dead air, everything was terrible. If he can't do this, what else can't he do is what people are thinking. I also think he has some great points for the conservative person. I just don't get the hyper focus on this extreme bigotry of this anti-woke, trans, LGBTQ. It's becoming such an issue, it won't play in the general election. It will not play for people on the coast. It just
I think
won't.
Fear works, Tori.
I do too.
I think he has the best resume. I'm not a fan of his any of his policies. strongly. But listen, he has the best resume, and I do think that he and his team know how to strategize, because look what they've done in Florida. Look how they pushed legislation, and I think they've seen in Florida fear works. So we'll see if that wins the Republican nomination. I don't know.
Yes, and just so you have that, the 2024 poll so far, Biden is a slight lead over Trump, but Trump is in a great lead over DeSantis
That
in the
surprises
Republican
me.
poll.
Okay.
And maybe because he just announced, so we'll give him some time. Let us know. One of the biggest questions hanging over DeSantis' campaign, can he survive in a matchup with, as we were speaking about, Trump? Last night on Fox News, DeSantis took on Trump, but somewhat, like indirectly, like kind of. Watch.
There'll be slings and arrows, but I'm a big boy. I can take it. You know, there's a lot of people that have given a lot more than that so that this country can be free. You can see their tombstones in places like Arlington National Cemetery. So if the sacrifice I have to make is people are going to call me names, that pales into comparison what so many people have done for me throughout history so that I could live in a free country.
Ooh, all right. Meantime, other candidates seized the opportunity and mocked DeSantis for his glitchy campaign launch. President Biden posted a link to donate to his own campaign, tweeting, "This link works." Okay, Trump posted this video of a failed rocket launch. He also posted a message to Truth Social saying, quote, "Rob," which is not his name, "my red button is bigger, better, stronger, and is working. Truth, yours does not. Per my conversation with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, soon to become my friend." So, what do we think that means? And can DeSantis really win against Trump? I don't get the Rob thing. I think the rocket launch was in reference to Elon Musk and his failed SpaceX because he was with Twitter I mean, it's like I'm playing Twister. What do we think?
You know, I initially was like, I just want to see the debate. I want to see the debate because they're going to have to go after each other.
Yeah.
And we know what the history of that, what happens during the actual election when people are destroyed in the primary by members of their own party. So that is something that is going to be theatrics.
Yep.
But I thought you had a really great point about why he wasn't more adamant about going to Trump.
Same as Pence and Nikki Haley. No one's going to go after Trump right now at this point in the game because they want to keep that base. They don't want to alienate that 37%. So they'll tiptoe. They'll say he never went into the army because of, you know, he's referencing the what was
heel
it?
spurs.
Yeah, bone spurs.
Bone
but he's
spurs.
not going to go out and alienate that group because he needs them. So it's going to be kind of weak until the debate. So we will see. Let's see what y'all had to say. 48% of you said Tim Scott.
Interesting.
Wow. Nikki Haley, 23%. Donald Trump at 18%. And Ron DeSantis losing at 11%.
That shocks me.
That does too. Interesting. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Mr. Sean William Scott. Stifler. He's telling us what it's like to play a different type of role in his new movie. And, of course, remembering Tina Turner. We take a look at the legacy of the music legend. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.
DBL, this show is amazing.
There's a lot going on down here. I would have been part of the Mile High Club. Yeah.
So on point. But I'm going to have a conversation about what's happening now. We're live.
I really want to see these debates. I think it's going to be like celebrity deathmatch.
It's going to be terrible. Will there be Jell-O?
I don't know if there will be debate.
I think what you said about the DNC is fair.
Both the Democratic bureaucracy and the Republican establishment have both made it very clear that they want it to be Trump versus Biden, and they don't want anybody debating, which it pisses me off.
I agree with you.
Pisses me off as a Democrat. I want to see other people besides Biden. And I want to see debates out there. I want to hear people's policies. And listen, I do not like Ron DeSantis' policies strongly. However, he's very smart. He knows more about legislation than Trump does. I mean, this is a Harvard Law, Yale undergrad, served our military, has some sort of honor from the military. I'd have to look it up. I think it's a Bronze Star. And then he even went to represent them during the whole SEAL Team 6 that went and helped with
Jesse,
No. My point is, I want to see that debate. And I want to see Biden debate Pete Buttigieg or
Whitmer,
Beto
whatever.
O'Rourke. Who
Right,
knows?
right, exactly.
I want to see that
Yeah,
happen.
because
We
that's a
deserve that as
Democratic
the
thing.
American people.
Right, exactly.
So I don't know if there will be debate. If the Republicans decide that Trump is going to be the one to beat Biden in their eyes, I don't know if they're going to want to overshadow that or split the party with debates between Trump and DeSantis, which I think DeSantis is incredibly bright, and I think his tactic's going to be different than Trump's. Trump's tactic is going to be what we always see from Trump, and DeSantis is going to be very specific legislative policies.
Tight budget. Wow. Welcome back. That was the amazing Tina Turner singing her hit song, We Don't Need Another Hero, live in concert. The undisputed queen of rock and roll died peacefully at her home in Switzerland after a long illness. She was 83. She was born Anna Mae Bullock, but rose to fame as Tina Turner in the 1960s, and she was known for those explosive performances on stage with her then husband Ike, who Tina later said was abusive. In 1984, she released her first widely successful solo album. She went on to, win 12 Grammys, sold more than 100 million records worldwide, and her life inspired the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, starring Angela Bassett, who received an Oscar nomination. Her life was also made into a Tony Award-winning Broadway show. Still, Tina told Larry King she'd never really thought of herself as a feminist role model. Take a look at this.
See, it wasn't something that I planned. I kind of see it as a gift because of the life I lived. It had a meaning. And I think that the meaning was all of what is happening now. I think that if I had not given the story to the world, maybe my life would not be as it is.
What do we all think when we heard the news? Erica, what do you feel about her life? I got tingles even reading her resume like that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Tina Turner is the comeback queen.
Yeah.
Just the fact that, her career really took off and she redefined who she was going to be and what her legacy would ultimately become at the age of 40, at a time when people thought that 40 was like, you just
done.
hold it all in,
Right, yeah.
I've studied comeback queens, obviously, and I've, read and really learned so much about Tina Turner over the years. And one of the things that sticks out to me was that she was trying to carve out a lane for herself and define who she was going to be as a person and an artist. And when she came out with her stories of abuse, which was unprecedented at that point, that became the narrative, and she didn't want that to become the narrative,
right.
and she couldn't escape that. And I think that that was something that tormented her.
Yeah.
The last Tina biopic where she is speaking for herself, and she talked about, you're not going to see or hear from me. And I just hope that her last years were filled with peace and love and reflection of everything that she has given to herself and to the world.
Yeah, it was her time. She deserved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Tina also inspired many people, including the stars who are close to her. Angela Bassett praised Tina for having the courage to tell her story and revealed her final words to her, which were, quote, "You never mimicked me. You reached deep into your soul and you found your inner Tina and showed her to the world." That makes me cry.
I know.
Oprah said Tina encouraged her and all women to live outside the box. Mick Jagger said he will never forget Tina, who helped him out so much when he was young. And finally, the Queen, Beyonce, paid tribute to Tina by posting this photo of the two on her website. I don't know, it's the end of an era.
It is. Something that gives me some solace is the fact that she's going to be reunited, or she has been reunited on the other side with her two biological sons.
Yeah.
She had her two adoptive sons, Ike's children, but the fact that she is now with her babies, to me, gives me some peace for her.
Said like a true mom. That's amazing. Amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah, simply the best. Before we go to break, here's a look back at the amazing life of Tina Turner. Take a look.
We can pin responsibilities on our parents for a lot of things, but can we blame them for our sneezing, wheezing, and allergic reactions? The question, are your allergies largely inherited? Let's verify. Our source is Dr. Alec Gupta, allergist with Atrium Health, the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, and the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic explains when you have allergies, what's happening is this. Your immune system makes antibodies that identify an allergen as harmful when it isn't. Your immune system then reacts, activating inflammation of the skin, sinuses, airways, or digestive system. And those allergies are often passed down from parents to children, according to the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology.
Food allergies, seasonal allergies, asthma, some forms of asthma, eczema, they all fall under this kind of category. If your parents had one of those things, then yeah, the risk is that your child could be more genetically susceptible to developing one of those other things.
Dr. Gupta says the risk of having an allergy increases when one or both parents have one. However, that doesn't mean their children will have the exact same allergy.
Even if both parents had the shrimp allergy, doesn't necessarily mean that you're at a higher risk of having a shrimp allergy. You could have a higher risk of having eczema.
Dr. Gupta says it also doesn't mean these inherited allergies will always show up.
Or if your parents had that genetic, not necessarily dysfunction, but just kind of change, then you have that genetic change. It doesn't always show up.
So we can verify that yes, susceptibility to allergies is largely inherited. However, that doesn't mean you will display the exact same allergic reactions as your parents do. With your Verify, I'm Megan Brad.
Welcome back. Sean William Scott is best known as Stifler from American Pie, but now he's channeling his darker side in the new action horror movie, The Wrath of Becky. Earlier, he told us all about his new movie and also about the very start of his career. It's hilarious. Check it out.
Sean William Scott joins us live. Welcome back to DBL.
Hey, how are you guys? We're doing great. John, before we get to your new movie, we want to take a look back at the start of your career because the first time you were on TV was for a commercial, okay? And I think we have a little clip here, so let's take a look.
You just move in?
Yeah.
Nice shot.
I was all conference back home. Hey, you thirsty?
Sure.
Hey, Mom, this is...
Ollie, hi.
How you doing? Want some soda, OJ, purple stuff, Sunny D?
Sunny D's great.
Honestly, that was my best performance. How sad is that?
It was good.
That's pretty good. Does that bring back some positive memories?
Kind of not, because I remember like the first day, I think we shot it in like 2 days. I remember the director saying to me, because I was so excited to actually like get a job, and he goes, "Hey, we're happy to have you here. We just want to let you know that you're going to throw up today because you drink so much Sunny Delight." So, yeah, anyways, have a great time. I was like, what? But I didn't throw up.
Oh, good. Way to go.
That's the good news.
I like that you peaked at Sunny D. That's my favorite thing ever. All right, let's talk about your new movie, The Wrath of Becky. It is an action horror movie. Kevin James, Joel McHale, they're actually in the first Becky movie, but I think of these guys and you as funny guys. Why are they perfect for this type of movie?
I mean, they're just great actors. I don't know, I can't speak for myself, but loving films that I think that, you're used to watching movies with the same sort of dramatic actors, and then when you have somebody you don't really get to see in that type of genre, a comedy guy, and when it works, I think it just ends up being a little bit more satisfying. But hopefully people think the same thing about, Wrath of Becky. I think the movie is awesome. My whole focus on the movie was just, try not to ruin it.
Very good job. Good plan.
That's on my vision board every morning before I come to work. Don't ruin this.
We have to ask you about American Pie because it's been almost 24 years since we were introduced to Stifler. What would Stifler be doing in 2023? Tell us.
I think Stifler would be a stripper. I think that he'd be working at a pretty crappy strip club. His stage name would be Inferno. He'd be dressed up as a fireman. Probably his body's a little soft. He let himself go a little bit, and but he's still trying out his, sexy moves.
Oh, but Sean, you forget.
It would be off-Broadway Thunder Down Under.
But you forget, Sean, that women like dad bods.
We like it the squishy bod.
Don't even get me into this
Squishy
conversation.
bods.
That's not true.
Yes,
Would you rather have Sean or would you rather have this?
Oh my God!
Sean.
Hey, Jeff, you're a cutie. Come on, buddy.
Ah, that makes me feel better. All right.
Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. To our viewers, you can watch The Wrath of Becky only in theaters May 26th. Congrats, Sean.
Great.
Always great to see you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Thank
Come
you.
in
Great to see
studio,
you
man.
guys. Thank you so much.
It's that time of year again where the mosquitoes are out and about. So many of us will do anything to avoid getting bitten and feeling that itch. One video claims if you spread coffee around your yard, you can kiss those mosquitoes goodbye for good. But is it true? Let's verify. Our source is Sloan Black, president and owner of Mosquito Joe, Southeast Charlotte, and a 2015 study published in Parasites and Vectors, which features articles on the biology of parasites and parasitic diseases. We showed Sloan Black the video, and he was skeptical.
I would say that there is no treatment that is 100% effective against mosquitoes.
However, he says the claim isn't totally off base.
It will get rid of some mosquitoes. You will have fewer mosquitoes, but it will not come close to eliminating the mosquito problem in your yard.
Black says that's because coffee produces a strong smell that covers up the carbon dioxide we exhale, which is what attracts mosquitoes in the first place.
So when you have an essential oil, or even the coffee grounds to a certain extent, that smell is so powerful to them that it really kind of overpowers their senses, and they don't like it.
While coffee won't get rid of mosquitoes, this study suggests it can help prevent them from laying eggs. In the study, a total of 3,306 eggs were laid by 60 females. Only 11% of those eggs were laid in water containing coffee. The rest were laid in plain water.
You can put coffee in that standing water, something that maybe you couldn't tip out, a French drain in your yard or something like that, and it will reduce the amount of mosquito larvae, but will not completely eliminate it.
So we can verify that no, spreading coffee around your yard will not get rid of mosquitoes for good, but it could help reduce the population.
Your towel, your hat, sandals, sunnies, and sunscreen. They're the must-have accessories of the summertime. But when you're lathered up in last season's SPF, is it more than just out of fashion? Let's verify. Does sunscreen expire? Here's a look at the sources we checked in with to find out. And yes, sunscreen expires, after which time there's no assurance the product remains effective, according to the FDA and dermatologists.
I would take it seriously. About 1 in 5 Americans gets a skin cancer at some point in life. If you're putting it on your skin, it's important that it does the trick for you. So I would take a look at that bottle.
However, you might not see that date printed on the sunscreen bottle. According to the FDA, they require sunscreens and other non-prescription drugs to have expiration date labels unless testing shows the product will remain stable for at least 3 years, which means anything that doesn't have a printed use-by date should be considered expired after 3 years. Try using a magic marker to write the date of purchase on your new bottles, and store sunscreen away from too much heat and direct sunlight to keep it from growing bad prematurely. If you can't be sure you did that even with last summer's stash, you might consider a trip to the sunscreen aisle.
If you've got sunscreen that's been hanging around since last year, it will still work, but it won't be as effective as it would have been if it was new.
And don't forget, on long days in the sun, no matter the SPF, experts say sunscreen should be reapplied at least every 2 hours, more when you're swimming or sweating. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Welcome back. We got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. You've got to check them out. Steph, what do you have for us? Spill it.
Hey Tori, and hello DBL Nation. I am super excited to go shopping with you guys today, and trust me, you're going to love what I've got to show you. First up, we've got the JVC Marshmallow Plus True Wireless In-Ear Headphones. So this deal includes 1 pair of earbuds with a rechargeable case and multiple sizes of earpieces. Normally these are $60, Tori, but we've got them for just $20. So that's saving up to 67%.
$20 for like good JVC head. Like, that's a nice wireless. That is a good
Really
deal.
good. Next up today, we've got the Bright White Gel Teeth Whitening Kit.
Oh, good.
So in less than 1 week, you can achieve teeth that are 2 shades whiter with no pain during or after.
Oh, wow.
So normally this is $130.
No, ma'am.
We have got it for $24.99, so that's saving up to 81%.
That's unbelievable.
Now this is fabulous. We've got the Relax Ultima Portable Neck Massager with TENS Pulse technology. This customer favorite massager features 3 modes with 15 levels of intensity and a heat option.
Yes.
So normally this is $200.
Oh, I can't.
But guess what? We've got it for just $39.99, so that's saving up to 80%. Our last product today is the Mercury Innovation Smart Wi-Fi LED light strip. This doorbuster deal includes 1 strip light that will give your space a makeover in minutes.
Nice.
It's easy, it's got a damage-free installation. You can put these under kitchen cabinets, around bathroom mirrors, or on stairways. So normally this is $20, but now it's only $5. That's saving you guys 75%.
If you have a TV, you should put it behind it and it becomes like a screening room. Head on over to morningsave.com, guys, to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. Or you can even scan the QR code right on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. So we do have a comment from a
It's a
viewer.
powerful one.
Yeah,
it
Sandy, go ahead.
got me quite teary-eyed. So this comment says right here in regard to Tina Turner, she shed a light on domestic abuse that had never been there before. That's why so many people that have been victims of it feel very strongly towards her. My grandmother, not myself, but this viewer, was abused physically and emotionally, and she turned to Tina as a comfort and as a role model.
A lot of people saw themselves in her. Wow. She was literally every woman.
Every woman. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.